Hello and welcome back. Today we will be looking at Google's offering for spec or context-driven development, and that is Google Gemini's Conductor extension. Now, as the name suggests, this will only work with Gemini, so that is a drawback right out there at the front. But other than that, it's a fabulous product for anyone who's interested in context-driven development. In case you have missed my previous sessions, do check out my other videos regarding GitHub's SPEC-It and OpenSpecs OSPX. I will be linking those videos in the video description below, so do check those out. And without much further ado, let's get right into it. Let us quickly understand what Conductor is all about. It is an extension for Gemini CLI, which essentially means it is tied down to a single AI agent or models that Google provides. So that, in a sense, is its Achilles heel, which I had alluded to earlier in this session. It enables context-driven development. Of course, that is why we are interested in it. And it has a structured life cycle, so it's broken down into context, spec and plan, and then the implementation. I will be going through these phases. I will be demoing it, so do not fret over it right now. The three pillars of Conductor, so they are the specify, where it transforms vague ideas into concrete technical requirements. It has the plan phase, or the pillar, where it breaks down these requirements into actionable development tasks and architecture. And then the final phase is the implementation phase, where it automatically generates the required code, runs the required text, generates the required documentation, so on, so forth. Why does it matter? Because it is of high quality, the output is of high quality, it is consistent, it has a consistent development workflow, it maintains project level context. This is something Google has been harping quite a lot on, that this maintains project level context. It improves collaboration and reduces errors. The core features, you plan before you do your build. That is all. That is what spec-driven development or context-driven development is all about, right? It maintains the context. Again, you can see the emphasis is on that, isn't it? That it maintains the context. It has a safe iteration and review steps. It is smart JIT aware and works for new and existing projects. Key for the installation, you need to have Gemini extensions, so you need to install it via Gemini extensions, which works with Gemini CLI. Now, in case you do not know how to do this, do not worry, I have your back, right? So I have done a session on how you can install Gemini CLI, how you can install various extensions using Gemini extensions, and the link to those videos you can find in the video description below, so please do check it out. Right? The commands that we'll be going through is setup, Conductor new track, Conductor implement, Conductor status, Conductor revert, and you can go through the purpose. I mean, it's quite self-explanatory. The term itself is quite intuitive. It gives you a fair idea on what it's supposed to do. And this is essentially a repetition of the command list. And the generated artifacts, you would have things like product.md file, product-guidelines.md file, you would have a tech-stack.md file, you would have a workflow.md file, you would have a tracks.md, spec.md, plan.md. So quite a few artifacts. That's quite useful in a project environment. Alrighty. I am on the page github.com/gemini-cli-extensions/conductor. I will be providing these links in the video description below, so do not worry about it. And this is essentially the GitHub repo, which describes on what Conductor is capable of, how you can install it, so on. Right. If you scroll down, bit. It gives a detailed description about what it is. It has some features which we already went through. And right here you have the installation. And it says you install it using Gemini extensions install, and then you just give this URL. Once you have installed this by running this command in your terminal, regardless of which OS you use, you just open your terminal or your prompt and run this command, right? Make sure that you have Gemini CLI pre-installed. So that is a prerequisite. This will not work if you do not have Gemini CLI. That goes without saying there. And then they just give a list of the commands that you can use with Gemini CLI. Yeah, we have all gone through this. Now let me fire up Gemini CLI and let me show you how this extension, conductor extension, will look like. So let me just fire up Gemini. Once Gemini is loaded, yeah, I'll just do a / and I just search for the extensions. So if I have installed my conductor extension correctly, it should show up right here. So when I do extensions and when I select the list there, I have quite a few extensions, by the way, right? You will see conductor sitting right here. So if it's out of date, Gemini will ask you to update it. But yeah, for me, it's active and it's up to date. And this is what you should be seeing. Now, if I want to do something with conductor, right, and if I just do a / you can see all the conductor commands pop up right here. This is what we will be using to make some changes. We will be doing a brownfield implementation, which means I'll be making changes on an existing project. It works as well on a new project as well. I'm just doing a brownfield implementation because it is easier, it takes less time, and essentially it's just to give you a flavor of what this tool is all about. Fantastic. I'll be making changes to a Node.js project. Okay, so the code itself is irrelevant. Just understand that this is an existing project. I have used this demo in my previous sessions there. So I have just started this. You can see npm run dev, and you can see this is available at this port 3001. So let me go. So I am on localhost colon 3000, and this is where my app essentially runs. And I can see it as a nice landing page, a black background, which I do not like much, which we will be trying to change using Conductor. Right? So the landing page works. We have some episodes here. These are just dummy thumbnails. If I just click on it, it just shows the video is unavailable, but essentially the whole flow works end to end. So it has a nice about page and it's a FAQ page. Right? So yeah, so this is a work in progress, and that is the whole point, right? So I wanted such a project where I could make some subtle changes, make some incremental changes, if you will, and then showcase that to you using different tools. So all right, now let's get started. Now obviously the first thing to do would be to decide what changes I need to make to this, right? So I'll leave the front page as is and let me go to the episodes page, which I'm not that happy about. So you can see there are no thumbnails here. So it just pops in, it flashes a screen, but what I would like to have here is some nice snaps or thumbnails here. So let us try doing this. Okay, so we'll be instructing Conductor to add some thumbnails to this particular page, which is all episodes page. I'm using Code Insider's IDE. You can use whatever IDE you want as long as it supports an agentic AI. And I just opened a terminal here. So let me launch Gemini. Why I'm using an IDE is because I can keep track of all the changes that Gemini Conductor makes to my project there. So I can see it on my left hand side pane. I could straight away do this using a normal command prompt, no issues at all. But then I would not be able to see the changes, right, or track the changes and essentially demo it to you. So that's why I am using an IDE in this case. And Google Gemini is up and running. As you can see, I'll just move my video to the left hand side. Right. Now let me launch Gemini Conductor. So let me launch Conductor. And as I said before, if everything has been set up correctly, you should see all the commands prompt up as soon as you give /co and Conductor. Right? I will be starting up with the setup command. Right? So that is the first command that you would need to run, which scaffolds the project and sets up the Conductor environment. Then we'll be doing the new track, and then we'll be doing the implement. We'll also have a look at the review, and hopefully we would not need something like revert. Okay, so let us just do the setup here and hit enter. So it's trying to find the relevant documentations. And it's entering the plan mode, right? So you can see it's entering the plan mode for setting up the Conductor project, and this is where it will ask us a series of questions, or it will give us an option of actually fast tracking. Right. So it says, I've detected an existing project here. May I perform a read-only scan? Yes, you may. And it says this is a brownfield existing project. Yep, you can do the scan. And now it will go through all the files. It will read all through the files to understand what this project is all about. And now it brings up a couple of, or more than a couple of options, I should say, where it says that how would you like to define the product details? Essentially, what changes are you trying to make, but how should I interact with you for these changes that you want to make? You know, that's what it's asking. Shall I be interactive, where I'll guide you through a series of questions to refine your vision, or shall I auto-generate? So I'll just draft a comprehensive guide based on your initial project goal, or I can enter a custom value. So I'll just select enter. Okay, and the way you can navigate through these questions is through your up and down arrow, which are very helpfully shown on the screen here. I'll just press enter. Yep. Now it should ask me a series of questions regarding my project vision. Alrighty, now it gives me who are the primary users for your platform, right? And I could just press enter. So I would just say this. Let me see what are the options. Yeah, I'll just go with casual learners. Okay, that seems good enough. And then to go on to the next question, I have to use the forward or the backward keys if I wanted to just switch back to the previous question. So I'll just use the forward question. And now it says, what's the main purpose of this application? It definitely is a video tutorials repository. So yes, it's no need for me to just go to all the options. Yeah, if you want it, I'm just showing you what are the options that has shown up, which is pretty cool, isn't it? It has understood that this is a videos tutorial repository, and that's your first option there. Okay, let me go to the next question, which is what features are most important for the MVP? Is it video streaming? Is it embedded video player for the tutorials? Is it search and filtering? Is it user accounts and favorites? Custom value, I'll just use search and filtering. Okay, it's just a demo, guys. Okay, now it says what unique value does this project provide? Is it a curated content hub, or it says it intuitive UX, self-paced learning, enter custom value? I'll just say it's an intuitive UX. I want it to be a curated content hub, but right now it's not there. So I'll just select intuitive UX. Okay, and now it says these are the answers that I have given. So just review your answers. The target users are casual learners. Primary goal is it is a video tutorials repository. The key features are search and filtering, and the value prop, it should be intuitive user. interface here. Okay, UX. Okay, so it says enter to submit, and I have submitted. Okay, it says please review the product guide below. Approve the guide, looks good. Proceed. Okay, so where is the guide? And to see the guide, you have to do a control O, right? So I'll just do a control O, and you can see the guide, right? Ooh, I went too far ahead, so let me scroll down. Yeah, so this is the guide. Okay, so initial concept, it's a next.js application for browsing and viewing tutorial episodes. Yes, the product guide overview, I'll just quickly go through this. The vision, intuitive UX, yes. To watch tutorial episodes with minimal friction, yes. Target audience, casual learners. So core goals are video tutorials, easy navigation, yes. Key features, video streaming, search and filtering, episode details, yes. Success metrics, yep. This looks good. Okay, so if I wanted, I could just suggest some changes, or I could enter a custom value. I will just say approve key and just approve it. And now it will create a product.md file, and it will create a directory called conductor. So you can see a now new directory has popped up called conductor, and inside it you would have a product.md file, right? So if I just click on this, this would be what we've just seen on the terminal. So it's a markdown file that has been created for the product.md, which encapsulates our vision. Now to say, how would you like to define the product guidelines? You can handpick the style, or let me generate a standard set. I'll just say, yeah, I do not want this video to be too long, but if you are really serious, I would strongly recommend that you do the interactive mode. Okay, so I'll just do auto generate for the time being. Okay, now it's asking for us to just go to the product guidelines document, which it does not generated, by the way. So it's just asking us to make sure that this looks good, and you just do a control O to actually see what this contains. Okay, and again I've scrolled too far ahead. It seems to be a problem with my code insiders. It does not scroll properly, but anyway. So yes, the product guidelines, the tone and voice should be educational and encouraging. It should be helpful, direct. Yeah. The design principles, yes, good, looks good. UX patterns, accessibility, everything looks good. I'll just approve this, and you can see the product guidelines.md has been generated. Right? Now, the next question, the next, not the next question, the next artifact that it will generate is the tech stack. And it's asking, is this the tech stack? So you're using front-end framework, it's next.js with React UI and styling, architecture package. Yes, this seems absolutely correct. Straight away, you can see how useful this will be when you're trying to do or make changes to a project which does not have, say, intensive documentation. You do not have a fair idea of what the tech stack is. Just by using Gemini Conductor, right, it gives you an overall picture of what that project is all about, what is the tech stack that it's using, and it will generate those documents. Even if you're not going to make a change using Conductor, you can actually use it, right, exploit its capabilities to generate that documentation for you. Just putting my thoughts out there. So I'll just put yes, this is the tech stack, and you should see the tech stack document being generated. If you wanted, you could just review it. I'm not going to do a control O. Yeah, I'll just say yeah, approve, and it should generate the tech-stack.md. Yep, it has generated that. So these are the frameworks, the architecture, development tools. Yes, this looks good. Okay, now what does it say? It says okay, it needs to list. Yeah, I'll just do sure, why not. I'll now select the code style form. I'll start by listing the guides that are currently available. So yes, I'll just allow it for all sessions. And it says, I've identified these guides for project. Would you like to proceed or add more? So let me just read what it says. Based on your project's technology stack, I'll copy the following codes guides. Okay. So based on what my tech stack is, these are the code style guides that it will copy. This code looks good. Okay. I could always add more. I could use a custom value. No. So I'll just do proceed. Please proceed. This is brilliant. Okay, it needs permission for make directory. I'll just allow this command for all future sessions. Please do not allow this in your production environment. Okay, do not always allow. Just make sure that you review each and every line that it is suggesting before you allow it. Don't do it as I'm doing it now. I'm just allowing it to run whatever it wants, because this is essentially a sandbox personalized environment, right? I can do whatever I want. So even if it screws up, I'm absolutely fine. And this is just for the purpose of the demo that I'm doing this. You can see it's going to create the code style lines directory, which it has already created, and it will generate those code style guides for the different tech stacks that we are using. Right, it seems to have been done with the style guides. Let me just expand this directory on the left hand side. Yes, I have the HTML CSS.md. Yeah, the guide summaries. This document summarizes key rules and best practices from the Google HTML CSS style guide. Yep, and you have the JavaScript guide. Yep, TypeScript guide. Looks absolutely beautiful and amazing. Right, what does it want us to do next? Do you want to use the default workflow or customize it? Okay, so I've gone with the default workflow, and then it did a couple of iterations, and then it got to this point where it asked me to get the project started. I suggest the following track: refine, episode, discovery, UI, and filtering. Yeah, so I'll just say yes. Remember, I used the default track, right? If you wanted, you could customize those changes there. And just to show you, you now have an index.md file, which gives you the definition, the workflow, the management, a very small index.md file. If you scroll up, it will actually tell you what a track is all about. So now it's generating the track. You can think of the track as a feature. So when you create a new feature, you would create a new track. Now, a good thing about all of this is you could pause your work, you could stop your work, and you could come back at a later point of time and carry on. Gemini Conductor will be clever enough to understand from the artifacts it created where you left off, and it will automatically try to resume from that point onwards. So there's no need for you to actually do this in one flow. You can see now it's reading the workflow and MD files. Let's give it a couple of minutes. It's generating the track artifacts. Yeah, you can see the tracks.md being created here. Right, it asks me, yeah, automatically accept edits, manually accept edits. So you can choose what's the third option, type of field. I'll just do the automatically accept edit, guys. And I'll just do allow this command for all future sessions. Makes things a lot more easier for me. But never ever do this in a production environment. Okay, be careful and be wary and read each and every line that is produced or generated out of an AI agent. Make sure you review it. Underline that. Right, so it has generated some things. It says, so what does it say? All conductor setup files. Yeah, I did commit. Yeah. create mode, project and initial track generation are complete. The conductor file is successfully saved, and now it's ready for the implementation. Okay. So what it is actually trying to do is it's trying to refine the UI here, because we said, okay, we allowed it to go by the default path, and based on the vision that we defined to it, that's what it will be doing. This is not exactly what I had in mind, so I wanted to create, say, a thumbnails, add some thumbnails to my episodes page. So how do I do that? Now I could continue doing this and for the demo purpose, but since this is not what I actually had in mind, okay, what I'll do is I'll just go to conductor, right, and I'll just do a new track. When I click on this, right, it will ask me what do I want in the new track, and this is where I'll be saying, okay, I want to create some thumbnails on my episodes page right here. So you have your, please provide a brief description of the track you wish to start. This is where I think most of you would be interested in, because this is where your actual work starts, or your actual project vision starts, right? Remember, the project setup was just scaffolding, where conductor tries to understand what your project is all about. It goes through your directory, it creates the required artifacts, and it suggests, auto suggests some changes, or create some default tracks. Let it be. What we are interested is in our actual feature, which we will be defining using the new track command in conductor. That's what you've done here. So right here, let me say in the landings page, I want each episode to show a, let us say, exciting, or let's say inciting. Okay. I don't remember the spec. Let it be exciting. Okay, an exciting thumbnail image. Okay, submit. Now it's asking what should be done. Should I use the remote URL, or should I use local static files? So it can be stored in the public folder, or shall I do a dynamic app? I just do local static files. Yeah, I'll do the, how should the thumbnail be displayed? Hero thumbnail, standard card size. Yeah, let's do standard card size. And which optimization feature should we include? Next image. Okay, blur placeholder, responsive size. I'll just use the first one. Okay, we go to the next thing. Next, yes. Okay, empty states have one unanswered question. What is that? What would be the question that I'm not answered? I think I've answered all of that. Okay, empty states. I've not answered empty states. Okay, static, a generic branded image for all missing. Okay, answered that. Right. So you can cycle between the questions using the forward and backward arrows, like I mentioned here. I'll just do an enter submit. Now, guys, I'm not sure what it will churn out as an output on our site here, but the whole idea is to just showcase how you can leverage Gemini Conductor's capabilities to make changes to an existing project or to create a new project. I find it extremely useful to generate documentation of an existing project, and it does a beautiful work of actually creating a concise document regarding the tech stack. So this is where it actually scores. That is my opinion. Okay, so I'll just do an approve here. and now it's dropping the implementation plan. If you want to see the implementation plan, okay, you just do a control O. And it will just show you that. And as usual, I have a scrolling issue with code insiders. Probably should have switched to the vanilla code thing. But anyway, here we are. So this is the implementation plan, which contains a list of tasks for the AI agent to do, which in our case is Gemini. Okay, so I'll just approve the plan, and you can see that once it starts implementing the plan, it will strike off the tasks one by one as it progresses through the plan. So now it's creating the talk artifacts, which is the metadata, spec, the plan, the index. Yeah, I'll just approve everything. And it says it has created a new track called episode thumbnails, right? So if you go to the tracks here, you can see the episode thumbnails. This track, the first one, refine episode discovery UI and filtering, is the default track that it auto generated, and which we were so rude to interrupt and come up with our own track. So this is what we want, right? Okay, so new track has been created. You can now start the implementation. So now I'll start the implementation. If you wanted, you could just have a look at the track. Okay, so you could just have a look at the index. You could have a look at the plan, what it wants to do. Okay, and this is essentially the task list. So it will do the foundation assets, it will write tests, implement feature, it will use manual verification, it will do then the phase 2 is the component enhancement against some tests, it will implement the feature, again quality and assessment. Then you have the spec. Okay, what, so this, the spec is essentially what it asked us through a series of interactive questions. Yes, okay, so let me just try to implement this now. So I'll just do a conductor implement. It very helpfully asked me whether I want to continue with the first track. No, I don't want to do the first track. Let us just do the second track. Exact name of the track you would. Okay, so I'll just do the episode exact name. So it's asking me the exact name of the track. Let me just copy the exact name here, and I'll just, yeah. This is wonderful, isn't it? It actually confirms what track I want to implement. So say in your project you have multiple tracks. In such a scenario, this is very useful, where the AI agent actually checks with you on which track you want to implement. How brilliant is that? Now, as it is going through this task, you can see it is actually progressing through this task. One thing that I've noticed is that Gemini does have a tendency to go into endless loops. If you see that it's actually just looping around like a headless chicken, just hit the escape button and just run the /conductor colon implement command again, and it will pick up from where it has left off, because essentially it will know which all tasks are remaining to implement, because it has marked that in the plan.md file. So the task that has already been completed, it will just leave it as it is, and it will go on to the next task that needs to be completed, right? So that's just a pro tip there. And now we can see it has completed all the tasks, right? So it took a little more than 10 minutes, I would say. So you have to be patient, and you would have to be available. So it would keep asking you for certain permissions, just give enter, review, whatever. So finally, once it has completed all the tasks, You can see that it has marked the task as completed in the plan.md file. It says, now the episode or thumbnails is now complete. Do you want to review the changes? So run the review command. Yeah, I'll just run the review command. Okay, you can do it manually or you can just select it from here. Let's do the review command. So it says, please run the okay. So I have to run the review command. Okay, let me just do the review command. It made it sound as if it would run the review command itself, right? And then it says, no, you have to run it. You have to do it. Yeah, fine. Yeah, yes, that's what I would like to do. I would like to review the changes. And while reviewing, you can see that it's actually rerunning all the tests and it's reading through everything. It's making sure all the tasks have been completed. Having said this, I'll be very surprised. And yeah, and I got it. I don't know why it aborted, but think it is because they're changing their workflow or something. And to be fair, Gemini did warn me when I launched it that they're trying to do some things around, so you will see some errors here. Unfortunately, it had to happen during this time, but hopefully when you do it, you will not see this error. Okay, so all I do if I want to restart is I just go to launch Gemini again. Okay, but you get the gist, right? What review is all about. If I wanted, I could just run this again. I could run the review command again. Let's not do that. Essentially, just make sure that all my changes are in place. It give me a list. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go back and I'll just say yes. I've done all of this. Let me see. Do I have an archive? I don't have an archive. I know what. Let's give it one more go. Let's try it again. If it does not work this time, I'll just give it. Okay. And we'll move to the next. So it tells me what I would like to review. I'll just give the track name. You can see it going through all the files now, right? You can see it is running the test suits. This takes a long time and you really have to be patient. Let's just see, it crashes often, so you might need to restart. Yeah, let's wait. Okay, it has found some violations which it's trying to rectify, which I always think that's good. Okay, I'll use interactive mode, which will take longer. No, please, no. It's just a demo, right? But in a real world scenario, you would want to use the interactive mode. So I'll just say apply the fixes, whatever fix you want, just apply it. Now, even after all of this, I'm pretty sure that it will not give me the output that I want it to, right? So I want the output to have thumbnails or images in my second page. But when you see the output, you feel soon see, I'm pretty sure it will be completely different. It will try to do completely different. And this is the problem when you're using something like an AI agent. You have to keep iterating till you get to the right desired level of product you want, right? So it is a waiting game. You have to be patient. I'm just warning you straight away. It's very rarely that you get the desired output on the first go. But for the purposes of this demo, I just wanted to showcase how you could use Google Gemini's Conductor and how you could extrapolate its capabilities in your work or project, which I believe I've done. Okay, let's see how the review is going. Seems to be going well. So it just asked me whether I want to commit the changes. I'm not going to commit the changes. And now it asks whether I want to archive it. Yes, I'll just archive the changes. This essentially is the last step. Okay. So the review finally worked. And this is what I was saying, that even if you crashed, if you restart Gemini and then you go again into the conductor extension, it will pick up from where it left. And again, it is a patient waiting game. You have to be the patient person there. Okay. No. Okay, it's saying that I want to go. No, I don't want to do that, right? So I'm just canceling this. I'm not going to commit the changes, and you can see the changes. The track has been archived, right? So this is under the archive now. Now let me try running this code to see what it has actually generated, and be warned, right? It's not going to be what we expect. I'll be very surprised if it actually generates what I wanted it to generate. So let me just fire this up. Okay, it starts okay. Let's see what it brings up. Yeah, it has completely changed the layout, right? This is because we asked it to make the UI more professional or enticing. I do not remember exactly, but it just went ahead and made the changes, right? Let us see whether the episodes page has anything in it. Yeah, it has changed the episodes page. The color is different, but still there are no thumbnails. I wanted some thumbnails here. You could argue that this is your thumbnail, right? But what I wanted was actual images. Yeah, it is possible, right? But as I said, um, right, this is not exactly what I had in mind. However, remember, it is an iterative game, and you need to keep reminding it what you want it to do. Okay. Right, so we are at the end of our demo. Now let us just do a quick comparison about how this compares with what else is available in the market. So you have GitHub SPEC-It and OpenSpec OSPX, both of which I did a demo on. The links you can find in the video description below. So how is this different? So this Gemini Conductor has a persistent context and memory, whereas SPEC-It is used for architectural rigor. OSPX is a single source of truth. Gemini Conductor is best for massive context. I agree, because Gemini gives you very, very liberal context. It has a huge context window. GitHub SPEC-It is excellent for new complex projects. Yes. OpenSpec is more fast and it has iterative features. Yes. Workflow based, this is track based. GitHub is phase based. OpenSpec OSPX is proposal or delta based. Complexity, Gemini Conductor, I would place it as medium. SPEC-It is high. OpenSpec OSPX is low. It's the easiest to use. Who are the ideal users, right? For Gemini Conductor, it would be Gemini power users. SPEC-It, GitHub SPEC-It, it would be lead architects. OSPX, it would be solo devs or agile teams. And this pretty much sums it. Now, what do I think of Gemini Conductor? I think it's a pretty awesome tool, right? No doubt about that. But there are lots of areas it still needs to improve. As you would have noticed, it crashed quite a few times and it is pretty annoying to restart each time. Also, remember this has a vendor time because it works only with Gemini. It is Google software, so yes, fair enough, it works only with Gemini. Whereas something like OpenSpec OSPX or Copilot's SPEC-IT, okay, it gives you a smorgasbord of AI agents you can choose from. This does not have that. You just have Gemini models you can choose and play with. I think that is a limiting factor there. But other than these two, right? And as time goes on, I'm sure this will become an awesome tool. As I mentioned, this is great for actually capturing your tech stack, creating the initial documentation. So even if you didn't want to use it to build some features there or tracks, you could just use it to build some basic documentation around your project. And on that note, I bid adieu.